Happy Saturday, everyone. I wanted to explain a little bit about Jeremiah's IEP. His IEP is something that every special needs child needs to have, in case you didn't know that. Once your child goes into early intervention, which what happens with early intervention is you recognize early on that your child is showing signs of special needs, whether it be on the autism spectrum disorder or the fact that they're not being verbal, they're not saying mama, dada. You put them through the early intervention. Well, after they age out of early intervention, because with early intervention, what happens is the therapists, depending on their needs, whether they need occupational therapy, speech therapy, or physical therapy, they will come to the house and give your child the services that they need. And I want to stress to you parents how important it is. I know it's hard. Don't be in denial of what your kids need. I know I mentioned that on another video, because the more you are in denial, the more you're hurting. You're actually hurting your kid from getting the services that they need. As soon as and immediately as you find out that there's something just not right, you know, moms, that intuition that you have, something's not right with my child. Once you get that, get the services that they need. Once they age out of early intervention, they will go into preschool. Now, at preschool, and then after preschool, they'll go into kindergarten. But at preschool, they will actually get what's called an IEP, and it looks something like this. I know it's like really backwards, you can't really read it, but it looks, just so you can get a visual. And it's about, actually, it's going to be more than 10, 15 pages, about 10 or 15 pages. This is very important that you understand what an IEP is. Now, with the IEP, your child's teacher will write down the goals and the objectives for the school year. It's important as a parent that you are looking through each page of the IEP and making sure that if your child needs occupational therapy, physical therapy, or speech therapy, that it is written on the IEP. Case in point, my son Jeremiah, before I got him into a private school, because from the age of about 11 to about 12, 13, Jeremiah attended private school. I had taken him out of the public school system because I had felt that the public school was failing him and he was falling underneath the radar. They were teaching him basic addition and subtraction for too many years to count. And I was really livid and upset because I knew that even though he is delayed, there was more that he could have done besides adding and subtracting for all of those years that he wasted in public school. In any event, I looked over his IEP, and at the IEP meeting, you won't believe it, there was an imaginary person who signed off on the IEP. That person was not physically there. Now, before the IEP meeting, I had spoken to the special education lawyer who I'm good friends with, and I explained to her, listen, I feel like my kid needs a private school setting where the Board of Ed needs to pay for him, and I'm not liking where he's at right now in public school. And so what ended up happening was she says, look, go to the IEP meeting, express your concerns, express why you feel that your son is not getting what he needs. And then let's go over the IEP and let's see if there are any discrepancies. Hear me, discrepancies or any errors on the IEP. If there is a discrepancy or an error on the IEP, whether it's the fact that they're not actually getting any therapy or it's not written down on it, that is a good argument to present at the hearing, because eventually what happens is you would end up suing the Board of Ed and you would take them to a hearing. And so she explained to me, look through the IEP. When I looked, I saw several discrepancies on his IEP. I couldn't believe it. And one of them, one major one was that, and I can't forgive me, I can't remember all of them. It's been quite a few years. But one major discrepancy was that there was an imaginary person at that meeting. And somehow they signed off their name. That person was never there. It was really weird. But I addressed it to the Board of Ed. Long story short, I circled off the discrepancies I saw. I met with the special education lawyer, which, by the way, I want to express to the low-income parents, because I'm low income, okay? I like to dress nicely, but, you know, and I'm getting there. I know we're all struggling to pay our bills and stuff. There are pro bono lawyers that will help you for free. This one special education lawyer, she's been helping me for free because I can't afford her. And she's excellent. And if you need help with that, just message me and I'll give you her information. I really don't want to put her name and address out here on YouTube, but give me a message and send me your email and I will email it to you. And please subscribe to the link, because I always forget to say that, where you will also be getting really good information. I always try to share with the parents and caretakers what I've gone through, what I've learned so far, and things of that nature. So we put our heads together, getting back to my story, and we circled off, and she says, you really did your homework. You really, because I really wanted Jeremiah to be out of the public school. Long story short, we went to hearing, and she is amazing at catching people out in lies. It's really funny in a way, but it's also really beneficial for you to have a really good special education lawyer. And we won the case. But this, what ended up happening was I had to keep filing every year. Forgive me, I don't really know all the details of it. I don't remember too much of it, but I had to keep filing for Jeremiah. So even though we won the first year, and he ended up going to a school out on Long Island, which was excellent. And it was a $90,000 a year school, by the way. Yes, it's not impossible, okay? Be hopeful, be encouraged. The Board of Ed, if you are a person who really is a person of faith, the Board of Ed, those mountains will move for you, and they will, yes, they will pay $90,000 a year for your son or your daughter to attend private school, because they, under the Special Education Act, are supposed to be having a fair and a fair, appropriate public education, okay, no matter how that might, they have to have their public education. It has to be fair and equal. All special needs kids have to have that. But yes, the Board of Ed, they started paying off $90,000 a year for my son to stay at this school. I did end up taking him out 3 years later. Unfortunately, because I'm the type of person that I like to be really involved with my kids, I wasn't working at the time, and because of the finances, it really created a burden for me to have to go cross over the Whitestone Bridge, to have to come back. You see, for people who are, you know, able to financially afford those things, it's not a big deal, a bridge payment, but it is a big deal when you don't have it. You just don't have it, and you want to be involved in your kids' education. You want the teachers to know that you are involved with them, and you want to know what's going on in school and things like that. So, you know, it was a big deal for me, and I took him out and got him into a school here nearer to us, and it was wonderful. It was really great, and he did wonderfully until that was my little guy back there. Just you know, this past September, where Jeremiah now is in residential, he's in Jacoby still. We are still at this moment in time. We're going through the paperwork. I mentioned in my last video that the Board of Ed approved him for residential placement. And that's one of the things I wanted to show you here. In the last page, it says it very clearly. And in order for your son or daughter, if you feel they need residential placement, it has to say it on the IEP. the Board of Ed must approve it because many of the residential schools in the upper north, upstate New York area need a referral from the Department of Education stating Jeremiah is not, it's not going to be an appropriate setting for him to be in a District 75 setting. Jeremiah needs residential placement. And it says it here. It says, none of the programs checked above would meet Jeremiah's significant academic and behavioral needs. He needs the structure of a residential program. I must tell you that this was a miracle from the Lord. It just was. I don't call it anything else because Jeremiah, he did pose sometimes he would pose a problem at school, but mainly and mostly it was at home. So they really, for them to approve him was really a miracle. And I really thank God for that. Right now, so we're looking into Devereaux. It's a school up north. They require a referral packet. The MSC, which is the medical case coordinator that I mentioned in an earlier video, your kids need. The woman I spoke with there, his MSC coordinator, is now collaborating with the Board of Ed to get that referral packet out of here by next week. It'll be done, and then Jeremiah, we can go through the interview process.
No, Grandma.
But that's all for now, and Elijah, say hi.
No.
No? Okay, my little one doesn't want to say hi. He's a little bit cranky. God bless you guys, and I hope that was helpful.